The truth about the Dark Ages. They say the Dark Ages were a time of ignorance. But what if it was all a lie? What if knowledge wasn't lost, but stolen? A secret manuscript reveals the shocking truth. The Dark Ages were never dark. They were designed. Part 1. The Forbidding Manuscript. The monastery's stone walls groaned under the weight of centuries. Rain lashed against the wooden shutters, and thunder cracked across the sky like the voice of a wrathful god. Deep inside the abbey, a young scribe named Adrian bent over his candlelit desk, ink dripping from his quill. His hands trembled, not from the cold, but from the words he was forced to copy. The Church forbids the telling of what truly happened after Rome's fall. The Dark Ages were never what they seemed. To write the truth is to invite death. Adrian's breath caught in his throat. These were not ordinary scriptures. This was a confession, hidden within a manuscript older than the abbey itself. A parchment bound in human skin, its ink a strange mixture that shimmered red when touched by firelight. The abbot, Father Marcus, had forbidden anyone from reading beyond the prayers, yet here it was, the Forbidden Chronicle. And it told a story that twisted everything Adrian had been taught. According to the manuscript, the so-called Dark Ages were not simply an era of ignorance after Rome's collapse. They were a deliberate experiment. Knowledge wasn't lost, it had been buried. Entire libraries had been burned, not by accident or barbarian raids, but by secret orders of men who served in ancient power older than Christianity itself. As lightning split the sky, Adrian heard footsteps in the corridor. He slammed the manuscript shut, but not quickly enough. The heavy oak door creaked open. "Brother Adrian?" Father Marcus's voice was calm, but his eyes gleamed like whetstones in the candlelight. "You've been reading it, haven't you?" Adrian's mouth dried. I was only copying." Marcus stepped forward, his shadow swallowing the room. "Do you know why we call it the Dark Ages? Because we kept it dark." Before Adrian could react, the abbot blew out the candle, plunging the room into pitch black. When Adrian awoke, his wrists were bound. He was in the catacombs beneath the abbey, a place whispered about by novices but never seen. Bones lined the walls, skulls stacked like grotesque trophies. A single torch sputtered in its bracket, its flame fighting the damp air. The abbot, Father Marcus, knelt beside him, holding the manuscript. This book should never have been found. Yet, every 100 years, a fool thinks he can expose the truth, and every 100 years, we silence him. "What truth?" Adrian rasped. "What is this?" The abbot's eyes gleamed. Rome did not fall. It was transformed. The emperors traded their crowns for mitres. They hid their empire under the cloak of God, and for 1,000 years, mankind was chained. Adrian shuddered. The words cut deeper than the ropes biting his wrists. That's not possible. The invasions, the plagues, all staged, all orchestrated. The Dark Ages were a laboratory, Adrian. Knowledge was controlled. Fear was engineered. And those who ruled learned how to shape entire civilizations. Marcus leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Do you know the greatest lie of all? The barbarians who sacked Rome never existed. They were inventions in books we wrote ourselves. Adrian's mind reeled. History itself? A fabrication? He wanted to deny it, but something in the abbot's tone, something ancient and certain, froze the denial in his throat. The abbot rose, holding the manuscript above the torch. This book is the last of its kind. When it burns, the last thread to the truth will vanish. But before he could drop it, the torch sputtered violently. A cold wind surged through the catacombs, and the flame died, plunging them into darkness once more. And in that silence, something moved among the bones. The sound was faint at first, like dry leaves shifting in a forgotten attic. Then came the scrape of claws on stone. Adrian's heartbeat thundered in his ears. Marcus froze, his hand clutching the manuscript tight to his chest. "Who's there?" the abbot demanded, his voice cracking. From the blackness, a voice whispered, low, guttural, and not entirely human. "The truth was never yours to keep." The torch reignited on its own, as if grasped by invisible hands. Its flame fell on a figure standing at the end of the catacomb passage. Cloaked in tattered robes, face hidden by a hood, it held an iron staff etched in runes that glowed faintly red. Adrian's breath caught. He had heard of them. The novices whispered of them, the keepers of the flame, heretics, ghosts, or perhaps something far worse. Father Marcus snarled, "You have no place here." The cloaked figure raised his staff, and yet here we are. The boy has read the book. The cycle must be broken. Adrian stared at them both, realization dawning. He was nothing more than a pawn in a battle that had raged for centuries, between those who wrote history and those who sought to reveal it. The cloaked figure's hood turned toward him, and though he could not see a face, he felt its gaze pierce through him. "Adrian," it said softly, "do you know what really happened in the Dark Ages?" And before he could answer, the catacomb walls began to tremble. Bones fell from their niches, skulls shattered on stone. Something vast was stirring beneath their feet. Marcus screamed a prayer in Latin, clutching the manuscript as though it could shield him. But Adrian knew, with bone-deep certainty, that no prayer could save them now. The Dark Ages had never ended. They were just waking up.